MMA Oddsbreaker Frank Trigg. Today we're talking to Bristol Marunde, getting ready to fight Micah Miller. Titan Fighting Championships 29. August 22nd in North Carolina. It's on Access TV, of course, is where it can be seen. You're kind of finally getting up there, finally getting into the bigger shows. People are starting to notice you. I know obviously you were in Strikeforce before, you were in UFC before, but it was like even when you were in the UFC, people really didn't recognize you, really didn't notice you, like that push that everyone in the UFC kind of gets.
Yeah,
You kind of get that push for some reason. Whatever. I mean, it wasn't because your fights weren't exciting. That wasn't the reason. It wasn't because you don't speak well. It was just I don't understand kind of what was happening. But now people are starting to kind of notice you. Is there a reason behind it? Is there some sex tape out there that I'm missing?
No, not yet. Keep private.
I like how you said yet.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what, man? I don't know what it is. I think I've just been in the sport a long time and just keep plugging away. And that's just kind of me. It's just slow and steady. And I've had my struggles in the past in the UFC. And dude, this is a tough sport. I've never fought full time in the sport. I've always worked. I've always had a job. I've built companies. Super busy. So, for me, dude, to be honest, I'm happy to see it's kind of blown up because I had no idea that anybody would even notice that I was fighting in Titan, and that's not really kind of had kind of come full circle in my career, and now I'm like, I really don't care about the press, and it's kind of ironic because before I was always trying to push stuff because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. PR, I tried to build a brand, did the right business things, I thought, but I lacked the big wins when it was important. So right now I'm kind of just being me. I really could care less if anybody pays attention or not. And I just want to fight. That's what I like to do.
You say you've been in sport for a long time. You started your amateur career back in 2004.
Right.
And then in 2005, you started your pro career. In 2004, you had 5 fights during that time, and then had one fight, amateur. Of course, your last amateur fight is the one that sticks out in everybody's face now because of how famous he became, but not from fighting. Is Mike Dolce. And it's weird. Mm-hmm. Even that I forget because he's such a good dietitian. I forget that he actually did fight. He wasn't just a wrestler that turned a power lifter. That he actually fought, and in his amateur ranks, he has a loss to you. Then you look at your record. It's not like you're not fighting guys that people recognize. It's not like you don't have an exciting style, because you were fighting guys like Horace Spencer and Benji Raddick and Jordan Smith. You've got Victor Moreno in there. I mean, you've battled some serious names. Matt Horich is in there too. I mean, you've got names. You fought guys that people know. So just from you fighting them, whether you win or lose, people should pay attention. And it's frustrating to me to see some guys that kind of deserve to be paid attention to that aren't, and the guys that don't deserve to be paid attention to get it. It's kind of weird how the fans grab onto stuff. Do you notice you don't care anymore because you've done it for so long? You're like, look, it is what it is. I'm gonna get paid for whatever I do. But do you notice like a kind of formula? Is there some kind of formula that I'm missing that makes the fans pay attention to you more besides playing the Nate Diaz, Ronda Rousey heels, even though they're really not heels in real life? It's just kind of what they play on TV.
Yeah, that's a good point, dude. And what does that mean? Because I see a lot of people wanting to develop a brand. I see amateur guys at the gym that get their cars wrapped, with their name and their ring name. And I see people thinking that's how they're going to get in the UFC is by building a name. And guys are doing off the wall stuff. We see guys weighing in with like goofy underwear and, just trying to stand out because there's a lot of MMA fighters. The UFC has, for a time, they had like 400 fighters signed. And so everybody knows that you're not going to get paid and you're not going to make it to the top unless you're popular, unless people, care about you and talk about you. And so everybody's kind of looking for their niche, in that industry. And so what is it? Dude, I have no idea because I feel like in the past I thought I could create that and I thought I could do it, business like, cause I'm not an idiot. I've worked hard and made a good living for myself. So I thought I could force it and make it happen. And it didn't happen for me. I fought Jacare on a week's notice. Yeah. They called me, hey, you want to fight him next weekend? And I had a fight promotion that same night and I was working hard. So I went and battled him for 3 rounds, and not really nobody noticed that, and now he's finished his last 5 or 6 opponents, and he's going to be like a title contender. And little old me went 3 rounds with him.
Yeah, you had you didn't get finished till 2:43 of the 3rd round. You only had a couple minutes left, and you would have made it out to a decision.
Exactly.
And it really what happened during that fight is you got tired. That's also what happened. And on a week's notice, it makes sense. You should be getting tired if you weren't preparing for a fight.
Yeah, that guy, he is so strong on your back, man. That guy, he's difficult. So my whole thing is, I've kind of came to the point where, like, look, you know what? The fame and fortune just is never going to come from MMA. It's just not there. And guess what? I don't care. That puts me in a good place. I think that, like, completely for me was a big thing that said, somebody that helped me kind of deal with this was Robert Follis.
Yeah.
The guy's been in the game for so long. He kind of sat me down. We went out to lunch. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I'm like, look, I'm thinking about quitting. This sport just gives me anxiety because, I'm trying to fight, and I can't even get like local fights. This is a strange thing because I try to fight anybody. I just want to stay busy. And then the only fights I can get were in the UFC or Strikeforce, Jacare, Last Minute. Those are the only damn fights I could get. So I've never once said no to a fight. They called me and said, after Jacare, it was like, hey, do you want to fight Clint Hester next weekend? Yeah. Oh, it's 85, a weight class up. I know you've been keeping your weight down. I was like, oh, okay, I got a pretty bad rib, but I'll do it. I never said no. And so, after all this, I'm like, I started getting anxiety fighting because I'm like, dude, I felt like I followed the quote unquote formula on how to be rich and famous in MMA. And, I worked my ass up and I still sucked, and I wasn't coming out and producing good fights or fighting to my potential. And that's what was frustrating. So Robert Follis sat me down and kind of pretty much bitch slapped the truth into me and was like, look, you're an ugly fighter. You're like a Randy Couture. You're blue collar. Why are you trying to be fancy? Why are you trying to stand with guys? You got to be you. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I said, I got to be me. Oh, what is me? I don't even know anymore because I thought I was trying to do everything to please other people, to make money in the sport. I wanted to be an announcer. I wanted to be the guy in the suit. And then I'm like, you know what? That's not me. Why am I even trying to do that? And so since then, I've been having a lot of fun. And Robert went with me, and I finished my last opponent in a submission in a minute and a half. And so we're going to do that again and again and again. And I'm going to keep doing this as much as I want because, dude, once you get into the sport, once you get in and you dumped a couple, 10 years of training, it's like nothing else really like gets me going like fighting. And as long as I'm being me, it's fun.
And then the problem is after fighting, like for me, the sport just passed me by. Like I go and work out with guys, and I'm like, you're half my age, and you're ranked in the top 10 of your weight class. I'm kicking the living crap out of you, and I'm 42, and I'm old, and I can barely move, and I got arthritis in all my joints, and I could still do this. And then you start getting to training camp, whatever, and you're like, oh, I caught that guy on a bad day. Oh, and I actually have to get up and go lift. I don't want to go lift today. Oh, I'd rather go play with my kids. Like your attitude changes and everything goes. But the only thing that gives me that rush, jumping through windows, getting shot at, doing car chases and car slides. Also now I'm doing stunts because it's the same rush, and that's what happens. That people like us, we live for the rush of whatever it is, whatever we find that's our rush, whether it's jumping out of airplanes or driving really fast cars. Like that's just what it is. We found MMA, and it's frustrating when you get guys that are talented and just can't do it. I didn't realize you were working full time the whole time, and I didn't realize you took the Souza fight on a week's notice. I had no idea. I just thought, this guy doesn't train hard enough. Like he got tired. I'm like, well, of course he had a week's notice. He's gonna get tired. It doesn't make same with Clint Hester. Like you were getting the better of him. Middle of the second round, you kind of faded a little bit. Coming to the third round, you got caught with that elbow. Right, Hester was the elbow. Yeah, caught with the elbow, and it was like all of a sudden, you got hit with 2 elbows. The first elbow changed your life. Like you're like, oh my god, like the whole fight switched for you, and you got caught that second one that put you down. But it was like, you're in the game. What happened? Well, short notice fight. Like, okay, nobody came out and said, hey, by the way, Bristol had a short notice fight. He had like 2 weeks for this thing. he had a hurt rib, and he fights, and he loses that way because if you
Right.
see when he was still had his game going together, how good he is, it's late in the fight he starts falling apart because he's not training, and he has a full-time job, and he's trying to
Right.
get his career together. So now it makes more sense. Like now you just, I don't care about the fans at home. I'm going to see this in a couple weeks. I get it now. Like I didn't understand what the hell was going on with you till right now. Like I had no idea. You don't talk about that kind of stuff. Like you don't make an excuse. I lost. I win. That's it. Like there's no big deal. How important, you talked about Follis, how important was Follis making you understand you can't say yes to every single fight they throw at you, one, but two, being the guy you're supposed to be, finding out who you are as a fighter and being that guy, not trying to be somebody else you're not.
Right. It's very important because even when I started training under Follis at Extreme Couture, we started training in about a week. I said, "Hey, I got a fight. Should we take it?" And he said, "Hell no. What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, thank God." I'm like, "Thank God." Like, and it kind of made me mad because I'm like, "Where have you been all these years?" Kind of pisses me off. I'm like, "Dude, I've been a little off. I've had a lot of stuff right, and I've done a lot of good things just on my own and with great coaches over the past. But just the guidance and the experience that he brought a lot of confidence to me. So that was important to say no and get training. And then, yeah, what's your identity, who you are as a person and as a fighter. It kind of goes a little deeper than just the fight scene. It's like, who are you? What do you want to do? He said, for instance, quit trying to be GSP. And I was like, well, shouldn't we train our weaknesses? And he was like, yeah, but why would you try to stay on the outside and outstrike a guy when you're not really that fast? You're not really that great of an athlete, but man, you are nasty on the inside.
Yeah.
And you have one of the best top games I know. And it just clicked. I was like, oh, so maybe I should just take people down and grind them out. And he's like, yeah, you should have been doing that all along. Let's do it. So it just kind of clicked.
And that's one of the other things too, is that Follis is such a humble guy, such a sweet man. Like he's such a nice man that it sometimes becomes at you with some hard truth. You're kind of taken off by it. Like, why is this guy being a dick all of a sudden? Like he's not, but he's not. He's just very reality based. That look, you're my fighter. You're stupid trying to be on the outside. Get back inside. He's also one of those trainers that no one really knows about. Like no one really knows about Robert Follis. No one knows that he's taking Brian Caraway and moved him up and taking Misha Tate and getting her better. Like, no one understands what he's doing over Extreme Couture because he just won't talk about it. He's like Couture 2.0. Randy would go out there and fight, beat guys up, and be like, "Oh shucks, man, I kind of won," and thank the Lord above, and that's it, and walk away. And you're like, "Oh, that's great. Look at Randy, he was great." But trainers don't get that because no one hears them speak because they're the guy behind the guy. And it's our responsibility to pump them up a little bit, and it's tough because a lot of the guys that he trains are guys like you. They're very blue collar. They're gonna go out, they're gonna win, they're gonna beat guys up, they're gonna hold them down, they're gonna crush them, they're gonna get up, get their hand raised, they're gonna smile, and all shucks, ma'am, and then go home, and that's it. And that's the game is kind of played. So, how do you think this fight with Micah Miller is gonna go? And with Robert in your corner, I'm assuming Robert's gonna be in your corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be there.
What kind of cornerman is Robert? Is he loud and screamy and yelly like Matt Serra and Longo are, where they're always yelling at you? Is he just kind of, once in a while, he throws something out there and you pay attention to it and you kind of do what he says? And what kind of cornerman is he?
Yeah, I like it because it's good for me. Well, here's the thing. Follis will be the guy in the corner that you need. And because every fighter is different. And that's what's awesome about him is he understands everybody has different needs. If someone like, Short Fuse or what's his name?
Not Herman. Ed Herman?
Yeah, Ed Herman. He's the kind of guy that you got to get fired up. You got to slap him in the face. You got to get him pissed off, and he comes out and fights good. And I'm not the guy. I don't want to get slapped in the face, and you don't have to tell me to get fired up. I'm already ready to go. I'm the quiet, just chill guy that's like, all right. So he understands that. So when he talks to me, he doesn't have higher energy or tension. Mm-hmm. He's very calm. He just says, hey, I want you to go out there. I want you to get serious and get right to business and put it on this guy.
Okay, now Micah Miller. What's going to happen with Micah? And Micah's watching tape on you. There's tons of tape on you. He's seen your fights.
Yeah.
What do you think Micah's trying to do? And do you and Robert have a secret code of secret words? Like I know some trainers use secret words for things you're supposed to do or secret phrases. Or is Robert just like, nope, this is what we're going to do. If I say 1-2, it means 1-2 and has to be done with it. And what do you think Micah's going to try to do? Like, what's he trying to figure out about you that he's going to try to do to you?
Yeah, that's a good point. Is that with trainers, the guys have secret whatever. No, with Robert, it is what it is, dude. It's simple. It's basic. Everything is going to be so simple, and there's nothing, no secrets in MMA and for us in our training. It's all basic stuff, and that's what's going to make us win. And so I think Mike is really going to rely on his submissions. I think he's going to try to do something slick. Taking him down is going to be easy. I got a size advantage. So I expect him to look for something slick. He thinks he's going to do an arm bar, maybe a triangle choke. That's fine. It's hard to do that kind of stuff when you have somebody with good hip pressure smashing on your face. Go ahead if that's what he's going to do. He's relying on more of a defensive tactics, where I'm going to be a lot more offensive.
He's also coming out of Micah Miller's coming out of an American Top Team where they have 5 guys on that one event. They have 5 guys coming there and fighting. Ben Saunders is on there as well, and so anyway, there's some other guys. Forgive me, I don't have my notes in front of me, but there's a ton of guys coming out of American Top Team. So
right.
they're pretty much bringing they're bringing half a team. Basically
right.
A quarter of the card is American Top Team. Is that going to help them or hurt them? Because now you're looking at a situation where they're not going to bring 10 corner guys. They're not going to bring, it's not going to have 5 fighters and bring 10 corner guys from American Top Team. They're going to bring maybe 3 or 4 corner guys. They're going to have to bounce back and forth and rotate around and get different guys ready and what have you. Is it going to help them or hurt them trying to have that many guys on one card?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the individual. Some guys with a high anxiety that need to be talked to during a fight, they're going to need that corner and that support. There's other guys like Matt Riddle's on that card. Yeah. He's a guy that he could care less who's in his corner. He's just so chill. I cornered him one time, and he was so relaxed, and I had to remind him, hey, you're fighting in the UFC in 10 minutes. You know that, right? We should probably warm up. Oh yeah, sure, man. It's cool. Whatever. I got this new video game, by the way, and he's just so chill.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be different and different needs. So I don't know what Mike is like. I mean, if he's chill and doesn't care,
I don't know,
mind chaos, because MMA is chaos, man. In the back, you got to really, keep it together. And I mean, for me, I need Robert Fallis there to keep me calm, just that security. Just I'm good, get me to the cage and I'm fine.
Yep. Okay. So that's every guy's a little bit different, like you said, and it's gonna be interesting to see how this pulls off on August 22nd on Access TV with Targeting Fighting Champs 29, especially with the warm-ups for that American Top Team side. It's going to be incredible because they have so many guys. And Riddle is actually fighting Ben Saunders that night. So that's the matchup. So, Bristol, I appreciate you coming on here, spending, a lot of time with us here on MMA Oddsbreaker. It's been great to finally put you on here and get you interviewed. And for a long time, when Randy retired, a lot of guys fled and left Extreme Couture because Randy was gone, and so the attitude kind of changed. Fallis came in, Dennis Davis took over as one of the coaches. All of a sudden, we have this big insurgent, and you are one of the guys that made people want to come back in and start looking at Extreme Couture again as a fighter. And it really is nice to have you in there when I come in. Occasionally, I get in and I can get you in and get workouts in. Yeah, it's nice to have guys like you in there because I know I'm gonna take an ass kicking. I know it's coming, and I know at the end of it, you're not gonna. If I get caught in an arm bar, you're not gonna try and break it off. You're not gonna try and prove a point. Oh, hey, it's Frank Trigg. Let me try and kill this guy. You just want to win against everybody every single time. You're very competitive, but you're also nice about it. You're a great training partner and you're an amazing fighter. And like I said, you are one of the reasons why everyone wants to keep coming back to Extreme Couture here in Vegas, and why the team now is flourishing and doing so well. It's because guys like you.
Right on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, bud. Have fun. We'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you. Bye.